So I'm the moderator for RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 on Speedrun.com, and about 2 weeks ago I received an awful speedrun of some dude playing Vanilla Hills, but he's building duplicate rides that get popularity penalties. He really obviously didn't have a plan for anything and spent about 2 minutes building the worst animal enclosure in the game. Pro tip, don't do carnivores. They have really stingy social requirements, and they're expensive as hell. Anyways, that half-hour run of Vanilla Hills inspired me to make this guide, because I'm pretty convinced that RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 actually could be a viable speed game, and here's why. So the game updates win conditions in month-long chunks of in-game time, which when on the fastest fast-forward mode is about 120 seconds of real-life time. So with the optimal menuing, runs can only get faster by segments of 1 minute and 20 seconds. But in a 3-hour run, that's not really a lot, and there's a lot of room for optimization there. On top of all that, I know it's not a lot, but optimal menuing is still a thing, and it's not any less viable of a speedrun than, let's say, the Guitar Hero 3 FC speedruns, where they have to 100% every song, and the runs can only get better by not messing up whole songs. So as it stands now, there's two major categories for RCT3 speedruns. There's pure and there's custom. Pure uses no saved designs whatsoever, so you have to build everything from scratch as fast as possible. And custom not only allows pre-built rides from the available selections, but from the RCT 1 and 2 ride importer, which allows for locked rides at the cost of not immediately having set stats, which is kind of a broken mechanic that ruins the spirit of the base game, but that's why it's split into two different categories. So full campaign runs can either be pure or custom, but individual levels are restricted to pure for now, just to keep the entire level's runtime more engaging throughout, instead of just doing everything immediately and then waiting for 3 minutes for the level to complete once you have everything done. Continuing with the basics, the timer starts when you hit yes on the "Are you sure you want to start the new scenario" prompt, and the timer stops when the Tycoon objective completed window pops up on screen. Obviously using in-game cheats, macros, trainers, custom rides, and scenery are all banned, and using content from Soaked in Wild in the base campaign run is fair game. The full rules are up on speedrun.com, but I just wanted to give some tips to people if anybody's actually interested in speedrunning this weird niche speed game. So for starters, you need to have a plan for everything, where you place and in what order and what prices you set everything to, because the game saves prices for custom designs, so you need to optimize and save all your designs and layouts ahead of time. If you want a baseline, you can check out my runs that are playing in the background right now. I have all 3 campaigns run with the custom rule set on my channel ready for you to watch, and I'm kind of the only person who's really done a full run of this game, so I might as well have this information not die with me. For starters, you'll want to fast forward immediately for every level that doesn't require you to capture loose animals, so having the mouse over the fast forward button before the level even loads in is what you want to do here. For the levels that do start out with loose animals, I haven't really tested this much, but I'm pretty sure that leaving it on normal speed and going right for the helicopter rescue minigame thing is the way to go for those levels, but there's very few of them. Another thing you want to do right off the bat is place as many ad campaigns as you can possibly take out for parks with guest requirements. If there's no objectives that directly benefit from having more guests, you don't need them immediately, and those include repaying loans, increasing park value, lower ride income objectives like the ones between $50 and $300 per month, VIP objectives, and I don't have a full list, so you can just use your own discretion for this one. You can delete any valuable scenery, convenient, and also delete unnecessary path that misleads guests and wastes their time, and wastes your time by extension. You can use this money to get things that increase park value way more efficiently than scenery does. Pre-made coasters and flat rides are by far the best ways to increase park value for speedruns. But pools are excellent too. I used this deleting scenery tactic on several scenarios, including Oasis of Fun, Go with the Flow, Cosmic Crags, and Mine Mountain, and probably a few others that I'm forgetting already. Moving on, it's possible to complete multiple tiers of objectives simultaneously if you just shoot for the highest possible one immediately. So if there's an apprentice level objective that requires you to build a 1,200 foot long coaster, and then Entrepreneur is 1,500, and then Tycoon is 1,800, I mean, just build an 1,800 foot coaster. This technique is most notably used in Fright Night, where you can complete Tycoon, Apprentice, and Entrepreneur level objectives all at once to complete the level in under 2 minutes. Now, my favorite technique in RCT3 speedrunning is the VIP skip that I found a while back. When a VIP has completed its objective and has said it's going home, you can pick it up, place it on a ground tile that has no path on it, and he will immediately teleport out of the park and complete the objective, which can save any time from about a half a minute to a minute and a half. This is a godsend on levels like La La Land where you just want it to end faster. In scenarios that require you to sell animals for profit, cut it close on purpose and sell all your animals when the max profit reaches the exact point of the scenario passing, because you don't need the animals after that, so why not? I found that pausing to sell all the animals can be more accurate and cuts down on the risk of the animal profit fluctuating because of social needs. So this is a use at your own discretion kind of tactic. On that note, any animal-related objective that doesn't require you to sell a specific type of animal, always use the chimps. Or if you can't get a chimp, any type of ape will do. Because their max social requirement allows them to be stored with a ton of other apes in the same enclosure, you can simultaneously maximize the space usage of the animal enclosure and also charge $10 per ticket to get in. This of course makes animal enclosure income objectives ridiculously easy. Seriously, don't use anything but chimps here. For speedrun's sake, you want to hire a ton of staff, especially janitors, because they keep the park clean, and chances are you'll beat the level fast enough to not have to worry about their wages. So it keeps park rating up, and when you spam mechanics, it keeps the downtime low. Security guards and entertainers are pretty much worthless, but you'll definitely want to be spamming animal keepers for any level that has animals in it. On wild campaigns, you need to keep the number of animal enclosures as low as possible. Just remember you can't put predators and prey in the same enclosure. This is why levels like Tiger Forest and Rocky Coasters are so annoying, is because you keep having to deal with the animal social requirement, so you can't put more than 2 or 3 of them in the same enclosure, and it takes up more space, more time, and you have to individually put animal keepers into each one instead of just spamming them all into one giant enclosure, which on most other scenarios you can get away with. A mechanic that works very differently in speedruns than in casual play is the loan. If a scenario has a payback loan objective, it's always at the beginning of the entrepreneur objective, so do whatever you need to do to complete the apprentice objectives, sell a ride, pay back the loan, build it again immediately, and then continue play as normal with the loan up all the way. But if there is no loan objective, then you can just max out your loan immediately, and then just ride that cash out for the rest of the level. Pretty easy. Back to some general tips. I usually stick to building in this aisle pattern for 4x4 rides because most of this game's flat rides and junior rides are 4x4 and can easily fit into this formation. It's really easy to build, really cheap, has decent queue sizes, and it's really easy for guests to navigate too. To boot, you can extend it in any direction you want, and it's great for parks that require park value. Whenever it's necessary to use terrain, do it in large chunks with the square snapping tool because otherwise it's not worth it whatsoever. RCT3's terrain editor completely blows. I also like playing this game in 720p or some other kind of low resolution compared to most modern monitors because it makes the buttons larger and easier to click, which saves a surprising amount of time. But for the main windows, you don't usually need to click out of things because backspace will click out of most open windows, and the ones that stuck in the bottom right and left, you can just leave them there with no consequence half the time, unless it's a path tool. Also, please get used to using the right mouse to move the camera without scrolling, and use the advanced camera mode because it's way faster in the long run. One more thing, waiting out a scenario is definitely legit most of the time. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do to decrease the win time, and this is most obvious during the sustained park rating for X months objective. So in conclusion, yeah, this is totally legit speed game that I think more people should get into, and here's a dumb guide for anybody dumb enough willing to do this. Mostly because I don't want this information to die with me just on the off chance that there is somebody else interested in this, and what's the harm in recording a little short video about it? So I haven't optimized this, I hope somebody out there wants to, and that's all I got.